says it's streaming on my end, but only through OBS.
Yeah, I still haven't gotten any notification yet. And I'm checking the channel. Nothing's there. Oh, wait. And there it is.
Okay.
Right, cool.
Awesome. So now I need to find chat. Okay, there it is. Okay, I think we're good. Only took nearly a half an hour to get this. There it is. Okay, get this going. Good. All right, already people are in here with the super chats. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you.
Dylan's Fire Truck Restoration Service doesn't have a question, just says, hey, you, with an emoji there. Thank you very much. So welcome to the stream. It was supposed to be, we're supposed to have a third guest here, Foster. You may know him as from the YouTube channel, Adler the Eagle, but he's working on a big video that he didn't have time to Skype in. Hopefully he'll be there. He'll be here in the future. So my beverage right now is Victory. The brewery is Victory. The product is Sour Monkey. I haven't imbibed alcohol in a while, and by that I mean a couple days. My parents have a bottle of Bacardi in there in the dining room.
People are saying it's too quiet.
Okay. All right. So let me go into OBS here. Let me turn up the volume on me. Turning up the volume on me. Me. Nick, you say something.
Me.
Me a little louder. Hopefully I'm not peaking now. This may be a bit loud.
Yeah. Don't know.
I can up Nick's volume here and Nick, say something.
Something. I am here.
I am also here.
Yeah.
I am also here.
This
is probably too much. Down.
Yeah.
Down we go. Down to here.
Yeah.
Brian, knock it back. Good. Get good now. Oh, man, if I get right up on the mic, it like peaks like crazy. But if I'm probably here, it's probably fine.
Yeah.
Regular cars bass boost. Yes. All right. So I think this is working as good as it can.
Tremendous.
Anyway. So my energy levels have been kind of low, but you know, I'd like when people ask, how are you doing? And like, I'm doing fine, all things considered. Because what else can I say? Nick's stream kind of froze.
Oh, that was just, I temporarily went out of frame, see if I could find another hat, because this is making like everything dark around me.
I'm seeing the stream freeze on my end.
Well, reconnecting. There, it's coming back.
It's coming back?
It's all good.
Okay.
Yeah, I see it on my end.
I'm going to turn off my phone for bandwidth.
Rock and roll.
Okay. Maybe I shouldn't try to stream the channel at the same time. If I go down here, can I pop out chat? Pop out chat. There, I can close that. Minimize that window like this. And the chat is over there in a smaller window so I can still read it. So anyway, thanks for watching us do a stream by ourselves. We were supposed to do this last week, but honestly, I just wasn't feeling it because I didn't feel like there was enough to talk about. We got a super chat coming in from Rec. Hello, Rec. Wouldn't be a podcast without you. Rec says, so my donation for the Down the Hole Rabbit stream with Fred didn't go through. So here's double burping on the stream bucks. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
$20. Thank you. I can still go to the Giant, which is a brand of supermarkets around here, to get alcohol. Liquor stores are closed.
Same.
But
about going to the Giant thing. Sorry, no. It's just I got these little single serve wines when I went to Sheetz earlier.
Oh, they have them?
Yeah, and I only got one, just because I'm not going to pay, for single servings when I could probably get a full bottle, which I could at that Sheetz. But I also know me, and I'm like, well, do I really want to drink a whole bottle of wine? And no, I don't. But
yo, I saw at Giants they do have 6-packs of wine, like wine in a can.
Yeah, it's very weird and bizarre. It's something along the lines of trying to convince you that like maybe these single serving things, you're not like opening up a single bottle of wine and having that wine deteriorate over time.
Yeah.
So that by the time, you finally get around to finishing the bottles, the quality isn't the same as it was when you opened it.
Oh yeah.
So, but this is like in a plastic bottle. I'm pretty sure they were on Shark Tank with this, or a similar brand was on Shark Tank with this. It's called Copa, which is like cup in, foreign language. But yeah. It's yeah.
How is Sheetz? The only gas station I've been to recently has just been Moyer's. That's it. And just to fill up.
It's kind of weird because now they have well, I don't know if they've always had. Did they always sell dog treats at Sheetz?
I don't know. I don't know if I've ever needed to look.
They have like a whole rack of like just dog treats that are open and just like a bone that isn't wrapped. Like one of those whatever the baked equivalent of a baked bone is, like one of those bakery type things for a dog. I'm assuming it's like carob or whatever, but it's just strange in the sense that like if for some reason like you showed up and you had a service dog with you, that there's nothing really stopping them from just reaching over onto that rack and grabbing whatever they want and just devouring it there.
Yeah.
But I mean, maybe that's something, I don't know. I kind of miss dogs. Like just, seeing a dog when you're out and about, because I don't really, I don't know. I'm not very, I'm not going anywhere really. It's bad enough that like I was a hypochondriac before this, and now this is just turning me or giving me an excuse to become an agoraphobe too. Although I'm not, but it's one of those things where, you get like invited to dinner at like my aunt's house or something, and it's like, I'm not gonna go because that's just a bad idea. And I also know me enough to be like, well, the guilt of it if someone got sick would be overwhelming. But also we're in this weird Schrodinger's illness stage where we have to presume we all have it, but also, maintain the hope that we don't, while also recognizing that like a test is not 100% certain. And so even if it says you don't have it, you still might, or whatever, or if you have had it, you could get it again. It's like this really stupid thing that just kind of sucks. But also, I was such a shut-in before anyway. I'm not really sure what I would be doing differently now, except going to the gym, which I'm not doing.
Working out.
Yeah. I mean, I could go for walks and everything, but even then it's like, I don't know. Somehow it's not releasing endorphins like it used to. Maybe because looking around is sort of too much of a reminder of everything.
Yeah,
and so
I noticed a lot of people looking at the ground.
Yeah. I went
for a jog today. My first jog in a few years since my knee was messed up. I forget how many miles I did. I didn't run, just a gentle jog. I was listening to Fitzdog. I was listening to Greg Fitzsimmons' podcast.
Nice.
And he was doing the Sunday Papers, which I adore. It's just him and this other Mike Gibbons, I think. all they do is they just read the Sunday paper, and it's very dad-like.
It
And
sounds very much on brand.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I was listening to that, and then I listened to some music,
Mm.
and people asking me how many miles. Cyber Redneck asked how many miles did I run. I don't know. There's this running track that goes around the middle school and one of the elementary schools in my school district, and that's what I like to run on. And by this I mean kind of jog and plod along. So
Yeah.
my hip flexors ache, my right knee does hurt, and we're gonna see how much it's gonna hurt tomorrow morning. But I noticed that, you know, when I'm sitting on the toilet, I feel bits of my belly hitting the top of my legs, and it hasn't been like that in a while. And I'm like, oh no. And then I went to my parents' house and weighed myself, and I was 168.5. And I'm like, oh, I didn't gain any weight. And I'm like, wait a minute. Yeah, I lost muscle and gained fat. So because I'm still eating like 2 bowls and then snacks for dinner, and this beer isn't helping. I tried like in the beginning of this of eating a low calorie diet, just reducing all caloric intake. So what I would do is I would have my thing was like 3 bowls a day. The first bowl was a bowl of oatmeal, like when I wake up. Then at noon, I get a bowl of food, which is, you know, I eat the same thing every day. It's just rice, vegetables, and whatever meat. So I just eat a bowl at noon, and then eat another bowl of food at 6, and then I'd go to bed. Yeah. So I did that for a few days, and I did lose I must have lost like 3 pounds, like a pound a day. But then I also had no energy, and I felt sad. And then I cooked a half pound of hamburger and got some fresh broccoli from the grocery store, steamed that, and I ate the entire half pound of hamburger. And I'm like, this is fantastic. I cooked it, but so then I just kind of went back on my old ways of like, you know, just having snacks throughout the day. And I get on a bicycle and I ride around, but biking isn't the same as going to the gym, I guess. Yeah, of course, it's still that dumb Pennsylvania weather where the sun's out, but the sun doesn't work.
No, it's there for decoration only. And it's funny because it's like May starts tomorrow, and it was reasonably chilly outside, and I'm just kind of annoyed. Well, I mean, part of it is, you know, the whole nature of the environment right now and the fact that seasons don't really exist anymore like they used to.
No.
But it's still strange that, you know, it's supposed to be sort of summery weather and it's really not. No. And I mean, today was all right, but also you got to take into account that it was also really gray and overcast the whole day. Yeah. I had an iced coffee delivered today, and I went out to get it, and because it's no contact, so they just leave it on the porch. I'm pretty sure my car thinks I died, you know, of just I don't exist anymore because I haven't driven anywhere. Well, I mean, I went to get groceries last week, but like other than that, and to get my nephew, but other than that, it's like, what am I really needing to drive anywhere for? And it's strange in the sense that, you know, normally I didn't get things delivered, and now I'm getting things delivered, and normally things that I would just, you know, drive to go get myself. I mean, I suppose I could still drive and go get them myself, but I mean, there are other things that I would kind of rather be doing, you know, like when I was doing that, the video for yesterday, I just kind of wanted to, you know, get back to that as soon as possible. So I was having like cereal so I can get over the whole hurdle of, you know, having to consume and, you know, and have that over with as fast as possible so I can keep working. Or like today, I'm working on my next RCR stories, and as I'm writing it, I'm realizing that the story I'm telling, it's just boring, and I realize that the reason it's boring is because I'm not that interested in the history of the thing that I'm talking about. I'm interested in the people who are sort of the centerpieces of that history. And so I'm sort of restructuring it to be about the people rather than like the car or the company that I'm talking about. And I don't know if that will appeal to people as much. But for me to be able to do these, like I have to actually enjoy doing them, because
Right.
the minute they become term papers,
Ugh.
that it's
Yeah.
it's not worth it. And like part of it is, you know, remembering to cite everything, but then I realize I'm getting too far bogged down in citations. And so I'm getting to the point where like I'm just going to write it how I write it, and I'm going to write all the citations that I use at the end. Like I'll just list them, like all the sources that I use for this, rather than repeatedly like stopping in the middle of a story to talk about, so and so said this is where you can find it, this is how you can find it.
Mm.
And it's just this strange rigmarole, because I realize I'm not really getting to the story. And so I mean, and I'm also continually experimenting with like microphone things, because like I know the audio on the most recent video wasn't great, but I made this like sort of sound isolation box thing.
Yay! Look at that.
It's just I got old box that I wasn't using, and just filled it with foam, and then I put the microphone in that,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of hoping that would work at least to some extent. But I think what I really need is like a proper windshield of some kind, because my voice has like this natural harshness to it that I don't think is really conducive to you know narrating things.
Does it sound any different when you do it over here in my bedroom?
Not really,
Mm.
because I realize I get the same complaints in the comments regardless of where I do it. And
Uh,
it's to the point where like I do think that part of it is just the way my voice sounds. Like people aren't necessarily going to like it no matter whether it's crystal clear or not. But it's also something where I feel like I could probably be doing more to kind of fix, whether it's microphone discipline, whether it's, improving sound isolation.
mm.
It's just because I guess like throwing a sock over the microphone isn't really getting it done anymore.
No.
So I don't know. It's something where I just, it's a learning thing, which is kind of weird because, you know, considering how long I've been doing it, you'd think I'd have known by now, but it's still something where I don't know that I don't know. If I finally get it right, I won't know I've gotten right until
Mm.
after it's up there.
That's
When,
yeah. That's a
yeah,
way of looking at it.
yeah. So it is whatever the hell it is.
Speaking of the story, I'm going to use this live stream to actually throw a date your way.
Oh yeah, sure.
June 15th. That would be the deadline for whatever story you're working on.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I was planning on having it like out by like the end of May, because I want it to have like the quickest turnaround ever for an RCR stories. But even if it were June 15th, that would still be like an insane turnaround, because normally these take forever. But
That's
this
that's when
one,
we run out of footage. That's when we run
yeah,
out of all the banked cars we did before this started. Is
yeah,
June 15th. So that gives
yeah.
me another week. So uh,
I mean,
we'll have to
well,
figure something out. Like Governor Wolf said, May 14th, the state parks will be open again. Like you're
yeah,
allowed to be there. So then
yeah.
that means we can film there.
Yeah, and worst come to worst, I have a friend who has a car, and like I'll just go to wherever they are and just film it where they are,
Okay.
for like a me review. But it's also kind of, anybody who has their own private property that you can shoot at,
Yeah.
and it'll be more skeletal, in the sense that like, hey, maybe we don't get every on the road shot, but it's still a video, and it's still done, and it's still
Yeah.
out there. So yeah, I don't know. It is
Yeah.
what it is. You
It
just
is what
keep,
it is.
yeah,
I
it's
wish
you.
I wish there was a better way to say it than that.
Yeah, no, me
Because
too.
I feel like complaining about stuff, but I don't have kids. You don't have kids.
I mean, I consider myself having kids, kind of, like,
Yeah.
but
How is your
they're
nephew doing?
he's fine. He doesn't have school, which is well, I mean, he's doing like video school sort of thing, and then my youngest nephew, he's also doing a sort of homeschooling thing, and my actually, yeah, they all are. My niece is doing homeschooling, and what's strange about it is that they're used to sort of having that one-to-one contact with other people. And so it's jarring. You know, my oldest nephew, Nate, likes school because he gets to hang out with his friends. But now it's like he doesn't really, get to see people as much as he would like, which is to say, maybe he sees the kids who are in his neighborhood, but if they're not in his neighborhood, then what are you going to do? So it's just strange that ultimately, you realize when you do go out just the effect that having no school has on just the environment of the neighborhood, because you realize that there are no sound, like you don't hear things and you don't really see things. It's almost like every place is a ghost town. And I live in a city, and it's not really ghost town per se, but there is a lot less activity. But also I live in a city where no one's really taking it that seriously. So it's, I don't know. It's just weird and obnoxious, but I realize that this is going to it'll run its course, and worrying about it isn't really going to accomplish anything. So I'm just not thinking about it. I'm just doing what I'm going to do and what I've always done. And in a weird way, like, my anxiety isn't as bad as it was because I don't have any other things to focus on but this and work, and just, stay healthy, do your job, and those are the only two things. When any other time, like, my mind will be preoccupied with sort of ancillary concerns that I create through intrusive thoughts. But it's just, I don't know, I try not to think about it, so that's all I do. Some days are good, some days are bad, but ultimately I feel lucky to be in a spot that it could be far worse, and other people are in a far worse position. So, yeah.
Totally. Like, I go to my parents a lot. I wash my clothes just to have an excuse to go over there. Going to the grocery store. I used to go to the grocery store almost every single day, but I only kept like a day's worth of food in my apartment at any one time because I live couple blocks from the grocery store. I'd walk there. I'd just stop there on the way back to the gym. I even miss the dumb stuff. I miss the assholes at my gym. I miss the people who would bang the weights. I miss the guys who would use homophobic talk like all the time in the weight room. I miss that.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think I'd miss it, but I miss it.
I mean,
I miss the balls on the old men as they put on their pants last. I miss never pants. The guy in the sauna who would sit cross-legged and was also like super Republican, but also never wears clothes, never pants. I miss Mike, the surveyor. That's not a nickname. That's his job. I miss Golden Gloves, the old man who would box the cardio equipment. We got a perfectly good. We've got heavy bags. We've got medium bags, if that's a thing. We've got a speed bag. Nope, my name's Golden Gloves. I'm going to put on my gardening gloves and go box the backrest on the chess machine.
Yeah. Well, I've been keeping myself occupied, and one of the ways that I would recommend to anybody, it's free on YouTube. It's this anime feature film called Redline, and it's fantastic. I've watched it like 3 times.
That movie, right?
Yeah, it's a movie, and it's fantastic. It's about like this insane race that happens once like every 5 years, and what I love about it, it's this alien sort of movie of, you go on this planet and race against like other people on this insane planet. But the twist is that like they don't have permission to hold the race there. So they're racing this thing, I don't know. It's just so weird of like, there's a race going on, but they're also simultaneously fighting the army to get away from, just to be able to get through the race. And it's so balls to the wall and absurd. Like it's just one of the most ruthlessly absurd films that I've seen in a while, and the animation is stellar,
Oh
and I
yeah.
just love the story of it. Funky Boy, Funky Boy is
Why is it called Funky Boy? It's like this Akira World Destroyer thing.
yeah. He's just they don't they almost make you think that it's going to be absurd looking, and in a way it kind of does, but also it's meant to be this big threat, and so I don't know.
Which didn't
It's
really become a threat. It's just like they win the race and then it's over.
yeah.
Um, I think it's one just big allegory of sperm to an egg. Because at the end of it, people are like, wow, like everybody came. That's the end.
That's such a good way of putting it, especially the way that they depict.
Oh, because like the race
location.
masters are these two impossibly hot anime girls.
Yeah.
These buxom, like drawn tits and ass. They
Yeah.
will make out with each other until the man arrives.
Oh gosh, giving me the 19 over here. Um, yeah, it's
Daniel D, thank you for your donation. Sorry I had to go take a shower. We're gonna get to super chats in a bit. Don't worry about it.
yeah, we will. Hey, you look at my Shinra Electric Power Company employee card.
No.
No, I got the Final Fantasy VII remake, and
Oh yeah.
with this, and so it's fantastic. I swear, it was like being 12 years old again. I haven't loved an experience. That was probably the biggest light for me in all of this. Like I know people have complaints about like certain things that are different, but I don't mind because I realized what I realized about it is that what I fell in love with more than like the story or the characters or anything, I just love the world. Like anybody ever asked me what fictional place I would love to live, it would always be Midgar, even though it's a piece of crap place.
Yeah.
So, just because I love the world that's been created there. But it's hilarious because the driving sections are just not good. But it's also something where, it's very much like the original because the driving sections weren't good in that either.
No, it wasn't.
Because if you wanted to drive something, or if you wanted a proper driving game on PS1, like Gran Turismo was right there.
Yeah.
Like, why would you play anything else? It's kind of that strange thing, but they wanted there to be variety. So, it's whatever.
Is the game mechanic of the Final Fantasy VII remake, is it turn-based or is it a brawler?
It's both. Like, they basically took a Kingdom Hearts-esque approach where, like, there's slashing and slashing and slashing, but you can't win that way. All you do is you do it to fill your active time battle charge meter, so that, and once it's full, then you can actually like do stuff that will do damage. It's just that like you have free roam, you can switch between characters. But yeah, it's a nice melding of the styles because it's very much, I don't know, it's exhilarating like the original was, even though it's not exactly the same. And it's really fun, like just to play. Like even if the story were garbage, it would still be a fun game. Like they have things that you can do. Like yeah, the side missions are kind of trash or whatever, but it's, I don't know, maybe some people enjoy looking around town for cats. Who knows?
That's a side mission.
Yeah. Some little girl loses her cats, and then you go looking for her dumbass cats, and they aren't anywhere to be found. And then you find them, and they just go wandering away. And you go back to tell her like, "Hey, every time we found them, they ran away." But she's like, "Oh, they all came back," and then that's it. It's just an utterly pointless side quest that is just there to sort of, I don't know, pad the runtime. Yeah. I mean, I don't really care because I like that world and I like hanging out in it. So,
I remember when Final Fantasy VII came out for me, I was in, I think I was sophomore year in high school. 97?
97? Yeah, it came out in 97.
Yeah. I remember I bought it from Electronics Boutique. And I played that thing straight for almost a week. I was the first guy in my neighborhood to have it.
Nice.
Eric came by. Tom came by. I think even Tracy McDermott came by.
All the big
Man.
guns.
But it's a sucky game to like play because it's like you. Oh wait, I think I played like a little bit of it. I think Mike Buffano had it in like October or something like that. Mike Buffano had it, and then Brandon Roddenbush maybe also had a copy. And they were telling me about it in Mr. Hoffman's biology class, and then I got it like over Christmas break. I think I bought it with my Christmas money. So that was that. And that lasted, wow, almost the finals week. So that was from Christmas to like late May, beginning of June. I played that game. So whenever I hear the original PS1 startup sound, it means Final Fantasy VII is loading.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got to get to some of these super chats.
Yeah, rock and roll.
Gazura AP. Sorry, I skipped you guys. It said Nissan Frontier or Toyota Taco, meaning Toyota Tacoma. Well, clearly the Toyota Tacoma is better than the Nissan Frontier. It's just totally adaptable, and then you get the 4Runner on top of that. Good question. Zeus 2011 says, I made a Mitsubishi crew for Grand Theft Auto 5. Don't know what that means.
Well, I mean, you can. I think because you can form crews for heist missions. Okay. But I don't know how you make a Mitsubishi crew necessarily. Now, granted, like I haven't been keeping up with all the updates to GTA 5, but I don't know. Hey, Mitsubishi gang, go for it.
Good question. Rec answered your question. Lim Allen from Australia says 1993 Toyota Tarago. That's the Prevy in Australia.
Huh.
The family equivalent of do a sick. Oh, okay. It's the Australian word that they get to say. Do a sick blank, you burn out. I don't know now with international travel. Originally, it was supposed to be next year with RCR Australia, but now it's just one big shrug. But Australia will be the next foreign country we visit whenever that is. Yeah. Portland was supposed to be, like, we were supposed to be getting on a plane Friday.
Yeah.
Well, that's not happening. But that still is the next thing just because, you know, we got Fred there to help us out. And I told everybody else. Sorry, go ahead.
No, and I need to drive that Eagle.
You need to drive that Eagle. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, yeah, spoilers, but like nobody's going to remember this whenever we go there. And then, you know what I mean? We got 408. Oh, wow. Actually, that's a lot of people for us. Normally we top out at like 295.
Wow. Hello and welcome to
it's
Wednesday night.
We're up to 420. Delightful. Hey.
Speaking of 420, I didn't have a 420. I had a 421 or 422. So I haven't been high in a long time. So I got nicely toasted. And like for me, like the ganja isn't really a social drug. And after the whole experience in Mammoth with the edible, I'm like, okay, I'm going to take it easy. So I just had a little bit and just stayed at my computer with these headphones on, and I just listened to music, and I got really into 38 Special, that band. It's like I understand the songs now. It's just this Southern rock. The one song, "Rockin' Into the Night," it's about sex. The one song goes, "Rockin' into the night, rockin' into the night." Yeah, it's like it works on so many levels.
It's like, oh God, Dad got high and he made a song.
It's exactly me. Listen to the dad rock and fucking Doobie Brothers, and I keep forget what's Michael McDonald.
Michael McDonald was in the Something Brothers.
I keep forgetting. The song's called "I Keep Forgetting."
I am probably look.
Yeah, people in the chat will immediately know.
Yeah, it's Michael McDonald. But it's yeah, it just says Michael McDonald from the album If That's What It Takes.
Can I borrow a feeling?
And it's you on the cover. No.
Also, Cobra. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. I was thinking about that episode the other day of just like, well, you know, maybe single people eat crackers. Frankly, we don't know. We don't want to know. Simply, it's a demographic we could do without.
Well, welcome to, like when they're at the box factory. This is one of our more rooms. Looks just like the other room. Yes, but with one exception. Oh, we took that out. It's exactly like the other rooms.
You miss your calling as an additional voice for Simpsons, like towns.
Cobra Chicken. I think that's Canadian. Want to get a Corvette C5 as my first car. Stop me. I'm not going to stop you. That's a pretty good bargain if you have the cash to buy a Corvette C5, which means like $20,000 or thereabouts. Yeah. I mean, you're going to have a kind of junky interior, but you're going to have like an LS1 or when they come out with the LS2. I don't know. But yeah, no, I'm not stopping you. Go ahead. Am I peaking? Kind of feel like I'm peaking. Am I peaking? Yeah, it's a little bit peaking. I'm just going to pop myself down just a little bit. Evan Paul says, you guys crap me up. Oh, thank you so much. Love your thoughtful commentary too. Top notch. Call me the recycler because I slam boxes. Yeah.
It's a great
question,
one.
But thank you. I think that's your line.
No, that's absolutely your line.
That's my line?
Yeah, because I remember hearing it for the first time. I was like, that's what you got to put in it. Yeah.
Shout out to the Roman. This is from Gear Guts. Shout out to the Roman. That Volkswagen Dieselgate podcast was fire. Working my way through the others now.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It was a lot of work. But also shout out to Steph Schrader. She helped with the sourcing on that. So big ups to her. So yeah, it was a good video to make and thing to talk about that should never happen again, much like Cash for Clunkers. So there we go.
I think Steph Schrader ate a whole bowl of chicken hearts. I saw this one Instagram post from Steph Schrader, like she was chicken, or was it chicken liver or something like that?
I think it was hearts, but when I looked at it, I thought it was chicken liver because my grandmother used to use those in her soup all the time. And they were my least favorite thing to eat in the soup, but I would eat it because I didn't like the idea of waste. So it ends up being, it has this hard, like, not hard, it's more of like this weird Play-Doh texture, but with like a metallic taste.
Yeah.
Super weird. I didn't get the impression, well, actually I didn't read the caption. I just figured, hey, these are chicken hearts. I have them. I suppose I should use them in things because they're a chef's secret weapon or whatever. Or I think that's chicken livers that are the weapon. But I don't know. I would hope she didn't eat those all in like a sort of go. Although, you know, hey, protein, whatever.
Right. ETK 1225 doesn't have a question. Just says hi. Hi. And thank you for your donation. Will Downs, a familiar face. Hey guys, thoughts on the 8th generation Civic Coupe? I think it's fine, but because you don't get anything different with the coupe, like the only reason I think you would buy a Civic Coupe, a 2-door, is if you had thoughts of caging it and racing it, because there's less work to do, because I guess technically it's more rigid. I mean, unless there's a distinct advantage or a engine advantage, like as in with the Accord 6MT coupe where you get the V6. Unless like the good engine only comes with a coupe, just get the 4-door. It's honestly going to make your life easier because you can park it closer to other people. Smaller doors mean they can open farther in smaller in tighter places. And also, it's really good for grocery shopping to have a 4-door car.
Yep.
Yeah, sorry that Nick drives it.
Yeah, I drive
well,
it too.
there is no 4-door Mustang except for the the hybrid, and then some people were posting shots of the Mustang SUV rolling around. Someone got a shot of that thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, grocery shopping, it goes on the floor of the back seat or on the back seat. Hence a door to put it there. But yeah, when I had my the Toyota Echo, that was a coupe. And when I grocery shopped in that, I didn't even bother. I just did that thing where I opened the door, I get in myself with all my bags, and then I just put them in the passenger seat next to me. And they never stay upright.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, sorry. I got this link forwarded to me that is that the new McDonald's Japan Happy Meal toy is a Toyota Supra Atomica model. And others include the let's see, the Nissan GTR GT500, among other random cars that they're putting in Happy Meals now. But like they don't turn into anything and they don't do anything. They're not like you pull them back and they launch. It's just a car in your Happy Meal. So hey, why not?
Do you remember Micro Machines?
I do.
I remember when those started coming out. Like it must have been elementary school. That is, my memories go back to like '87. in kindergarten, excuse me. And I remember seeing them, and somehow in my little kid brain that was superior because it's everything that a regular toy car is, but smaller, which means you get more value for money somehow. I don't know. Like how King Kai's planet has more gravity because it's smaller and compact. I'm like, huh?
Yeah, how does that?
How astrophysics works. It's not how any of this works. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just strange. I mean, I wish I had memories of the 80s, but I don't, because I think my earliest memory isn't really specifically tied into the 80s as a thing that existed, but just being inside a house at that time. I don't know. I wish I were cognizant of the 80s as they were happening, but I wasn't. So, yeah.
Our first computer was an Apple IIc Plus. It could play some games well. It could play Wings of Fury really well. I had Choplifter, but the game crashed all the time. And then I had Word Blasters, and my parents bought me fucking edutainment games, which aren't fun to play. Math blasters.
Did you have that one where you had to find like the letters that were hidden inside of a picture? Like,
it doesn't ring a bell.
Yeah, I had a computer. I don't remember what kind, but it was this game on this floppy disk, and in it, they would give you a picture, and you have to like go on and pick out like where a letter is hidden in the picture. It's just strange. I don't.
Fook Azars. Thank you for your generous donation. Ford just recently started asking me for permission via SYNC3 and CarPlay in my Focus RS. My phone travels along with me in an RFID Faraday cage bag. Huh. I don't know. See, both of us just have like third-party head units that all they do is your phone's in it, it connects. There's no permission or like, I think I had to give permission once to my head unit and then that was it. It just, if my phone's in my car, it connects. Again, this is like the perplexing thing. How is like, what is yours, a JVC?
Yeah. And when I go on, I have to actually like, well, first I turn on Bluetooth and it pulls up the little list of various things I can connect to or have connected to in the past. And I just pick my car out of it and, or like, you know, I forget, it's like KY something or other. And then you just press that and you're connected.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to like put in a password or anything like that, you know?
With my Kenwood, it's just, I don't know if it's an Apple thing, but my iPhone, I had to give it permission once and then never again. I just get into it and then it's connected. I see a little light come on the head unit, like its own special light next to a little picture of a smartphone that's just, you know, painted onto the cover. And when that light comes on, hey, you're connected. and then you just press the source button until it comes for the one that just says iPhone, and then boom.
Yeah, and it must
Train
be a
by day, Joe Rogan podcast by night. Yeah.
Okay. It must be a modern head unit thing, because if you think about it, the more they try to create this bubble of warm reassurance that you're not being unduly spied upon,
Yeah.
even though you still are, oh, well, we need your password before we connect you to the Bluetooth or whatever,
Yeah.
or we need your approval. It makes you feel better about the reality that you're in. But it's also one of the things that I think, not to go back, but I mean, clearly to go back, it's the Cash for Clunkers thing. When this Adam Jonas guy was talking, the analyst was talking about how, like, if it were done again, like, as opposed to fuel requirements, well, not as opposed, but like in addition to fuel requirements, there would probably need to be some minimum like technology component to it, like a minimum driving safety requirement to the car being purchased.
Mm-hmm. That
sounded like a disaster to me, because it feels like now, instead of sort of easing people into more sort of technologically advanced cars, now you're essentially sort of, shoving them into it, and telling them, like, this is the way now, and either get on board or, whatever. You can't have this $5,000 check or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Whatever it would theoretically end up being. And I think people would be kind of annoyed by the idea that we need these, it's mandatory to have these, autonomous driving components, or not autonomous, but, these sort of driver assist technology.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, well, I don't need help merging. I don't need help parallel parking. Yeah. And so I just feel like technology on cars, it's very touchy, because it feels like, people want to maintain the illusion of having their information and everything completely protected, as if they're off the grid.
Yeah.
But that's not really a feasible place to be. I mean, no matter where you go or what you do, you're leaving some sort of digital imprint anywhere or somewhere. It's just, that's why I don't know that it would work this time. The other reason I don't think it would work is because there's only so much extra fuel economy you can get out of modern cars before.
We're kind of hitting our limit with direct injection. It's the crazy thing. Like, when a car gets 40 miles per gallon now, they're throwing the car a parade. Meanwhile, in the 90s, that was normal. It's just the cars have gotten heavier now. So you have to get way, way, way more efficient with these engines. A car that's coming up has a beautiful mix of direct and port fuel injection. It can get 40 miles per gallon, but it requires like crazy amount of technology. And I keep coming back to that Civic, that EH Civic, or the one I filmed in the snow, that could get 50 miles a gallon. It was the one that was, it was the below base Civic. It didn't even come with, there was no way, like, this particular model would never come with electric windows and stuff like that. Steering wheel didn't adjust. It was the total stripper model, and it was just made for efficiency and nothing else. And it got hybrid mileage in like 93 or something like that, 95. I still think about that car.
I believe it.
We got, let's see, QETUO, Queto. Thank you for your donation. Funny poop joke car guy and mystery guitar man. Yes.
Yeah, very much
so, us. Yeah. Thank you so much for your donation. Daniel D, this is a question. Usually it's what kind of cameras do you use, but this one says, what car do you guys own? And thank you so much for everything. You make my day so much better. Oh, thank you so much. And thank you for helping us out. I own 3 vehicles. I own RCR's camera car, which is an 04 Forester base model with a stick shift. Oh, recently, this is a fun thing. I don't know if I talked about this. Did I talk to you about how my brakes locked up
No.
Oh,
No.
okay. This is a story with the camera car, the '04 Forester, which is also my daily. Um,
Hmm.
my car has a hill hold feature. A very, like everything else about Subaru, Subaru just kind of lags behind all other companies. But I guess the only advantage is they let other companies make the mistake and then just come out with a simplified version of whatever the feature is. I have a stick shift, and mine it used to, I'll get to that. You come to a hill, it would hold the brakes for you. You could take your foot off the brake, and it would still hold the brakes until you let the clutch out and gave it a little bit of gas. It would hold that. And I'm like, what a wonderful feature that this has. In 2004, it holds the brakes for you. And it will hold the brakes indefinitely, unlike Ford, which releases them after 3 seconds. So this was like, it was like a crutch for me. Like after 3 or 4 years with this car, how long has it been since I've been driving this Subaru? You just come to a hill, you put it in first gear, you push in the clutch, you just let your foot off the brake, and it just holds it, and it will keep holding it. I'm like, it's great. Yeah. So one day, it didn't let go. It didn't let go. And thank God I was in a parking lot. But I'm like, I like stalled it a few times. Like, what's going on? I'm like, these brakes are locked on. What the heck's going on? So I call Moyers, and they come with a flatbed truck. And it was the same guy who picked up the Falcon on one time when its brakes were locked up, but that was my own fault because I left a rubber spacer in between the master cylinder and the brake booster, so that meant my brakes slowly locked on. So anyway, this guy comes up. We had a chat. We had some laughs. He even had tools like specifically for a car with brakes that locked up. It's like these little plastic sleds that fit underneath the tires. So the car just like rides up on these little sleds, and then the big winch on the rollback just pulls the car up onto the rollback. And I just say, drop it off at the shop. I'll come back there, pick it up. So I go back to the shop. I borrow my dad's 1990 Cressida that still had my mixtape in it. So
that thing is going to be around forever.
Yeah, Dad's not going to sell that car. I'm pretty sure I'm going to inherit that thing. Don't know what's going to become of it. The engine's perfectly fine because it's been rebuilt. I'm getting off topic. So I get back down there. I'm talking to the tow guy. I said hi to Homer, the other tow guy. And Homer's almost like a manager now. I don't know what his position is. He's an everything guy at Moyers. Yeah. Anyway, so I start going on the forums, and it turns out the way Subaru did this hill hold feature was they had not a master cylinder, and it wasn't a wheel cylinder. It was like a mid-manager brake cylinder in between the two, with brake lines running to it and like an extra wire going to the clutch. So, or the brake or the clutch, one of the two. And people said, yeah, if your brake's locked up, just undo this cable and open the brake cylinder with this, just pull the lever. There's like a lever on top, like a little pivot, with where the cable attaches to. Just open that, release the pressure, then your brakes are free again. And when I did that, I'm there with the tow guy where they're futzing around. I just turn this lever, and like the car goes, it moves a second. I'm like, you're kidding me. We didn't even need it. Now, it was a AAA tow, so hey, AAA plays for itself. Tow didn't cost me anything. Yeah. So we get right back there, and we said, well, we got to remember this. So he took a picture of it. I took a picture of it in the case that he ever has to tow a Subaru with brakes, a manual transmission Subaru with brakes locked up. So I just disconnected this cable, put a zip tie around the lever, actually zip tied the lever to one of the brake hard lines so it can't move anymore. So now my I don't have that feature anymore. My 5-speed just behaves like any other 5-speed. You know, you come to a hill, it's going to roll back a little bit before you go. Oh,
yeah,
big whiner, just like every other thing normally does. So that's one car that I own. I also own a 1960 Ford Falcon with a Fox body driveline swap done by Bruce Henn's Garage, and that was the only build we ever really did. Maybe I'll do another one far, far in the future. Who knows? That's me like getting a house or something like that, or having a garage, or I kept thinking like I'll go on like Facebook Marketplace and think, oh, that'd be a fun car to work on. That'd be a fun car to work on. Like, Brian, you're not a mechanic. You're an English major. Stick to writing stuff. You're better at that. It's more fun to like go over and help other people work on their stuff. That way, if I screw up, it's not my car. And I also own a motorcycle, a 2008 Suzuki GSX 650F that I did a review on, which hasn't been ridden in a while. And that's it.
Yeah. Well, there you go. And I just have a Mustang SN95 because I am very basic. And I was very much a Mustang guy growing up. Like, that's kind of what I wanted. So when I found it, didn't really care. It's V6. Still don't really care. It's an automatic. Again, do not care because I know people really want me to care, and I really, really don't. It's 40th anniversary. So, it's 2004. And it's it's always been good to me, and I've always had a good time with it. And I don't really require that much more than that for any car. And it's, I don't know. Like, I know that the de facto stance is to affix a certain level of meaning to the function of a car. Which the irony being that I do this for every other car that we do, but I don't do it for mine. My car means to me what it means to me. It's I almost look at it like a friend. You kind of just sort of have it so that you can escape sometimes, even if it's just to go to the supermarket, even if it's just to go for a cruise, even if you're not really thinking that much about what you're planning to do, if it just becomes this thing that you're not really thinking about. I don't know. I enjoy my car, and it's the only car I have. And I don't plan on getting another one anytime soon because I'm happy with this one, and because that money could be used for like a million other things. So, yeah.
Good question. Blake Beals, Mr. Regular in the Roman. Have you ever played Jalopy? It's an indie game about a road trip in a wretched Soviet block car. You have to repair it and scrounge for parts. No, I haven't. It sounds familiar. I have not. But no.
I mean, it does sound vaguely familiar. But I haven't played it.
Good question, though. John Woods. I've noticed a lot of people are walking or riding bicycles lately. Yep, that was me. Like right before everything locked down, I bought a bicycle for myself. Ride it all the time, and my butt bone hurts. It feels like the 90s. There's people just riding bicycles. Like, I'm riding my bicycle in the middle of the freaking street because there's no cars. Here I go. Down the street. I'm in the southern suburbs of Philly. Great to catch you guys live. Yeah, I feel it. I had a thought of taking a motorcycle down into Philadelphia and, like, riding around the bridges. And it sounds fun to me, but it also, because there's going to be no traffic. But on the other hand, it's 2 hours to Philly. So I'm like, nah.
Yeah, that's...
Coral Donnelly says, will you review a Honda Rebel in the future? I'd love to review a Honda Rebel. I'd love to get my hands on one of those things. They're so low to the ground. So tiny. They're fun. So, yes, eventually, and when you're talking about Honda Rebel, you're not talking about the fuel-injected one. You're talking about the 233 single-barrel parallel twin engine with the twin dumps out the sides. Yep. Yeah, I want to do one of those. Good question, Cole. Travis asks, and Travis with a generous donation, thank you. I'm looking for a new car to buy, and I need help. I know these cars are completely different, but I'm looking between a Saturn Sky or an Acura TSX. Oh, easily Acura TSX, instantly. You're buying a Honda Accord.
Yeah.
Saturn Sky. That's a defunct company. 90s GM or early 2000s GM. No. You want an Acura TSX. You
Yeah.
want the Acura TSX Sport Wagon. You want the wagon version. Those are the cool ones. I was telling my one friend Donovan Geiger, he needs to get an Acura TSX. And then I saw his house, and then I saw his driveway has a dip in it, and I'm like, that's a low car, man. I think you're going to need something else. I think I'd steer him toward a Honda not a Honda Pilot, Honda Element,
Yeah.
over an Acura TSX Sport Wagon. Because he lives out in Cincinnati. He's Foster's boyfriend, and I saw the roads out there, and I'm like, Acura TSX, it comes with like 18-inch wheels. You're gonna pop a tire with one of those things. Cincinnati's one of these towns where you need fat tires to drive around because the roads are so bad. I mean, I saw like Cincinnati has worse roads than our towns. It's tough. It's a larger city that's also has the same kind of weather that PA has with a lot of freeze and thaw. And I don't, a lot of those steel plates that they just put in the middle of the road that you got to drive over. Nasty. Good question, Travis. Timberwolf 429. Good engine size. I have a naturally aspirated 7.3 IDI diesel, something direct injection diesel, F350 dually. I want to offer up for review. Would you like to review it? What you need to do, Timberwolf429, is to send an email to regularcars@gmail.com. Year, make, model, city, state in the title of the email. In the body of the email, tell me about your truck and give me a phone number that I can call. I need the city and state to be written out, no abbreviations. And that's how we catalog things. Who knows when we're going to travel again. But yes, big diesel engine I'd love to do. Rec again showing up with donation. Thank you so much, Rec. If a lockdown keeps going long enough, start reviewing Hot Wheels. You know, if the lockdown keeps going, I'll review this bicycle that I bought. It's called the Giant Talon. And it's a large frame bicycle. I probably could have got away with a medium. It's a bit of a stretch for me. I thought, I was a big boy. I'm going to get a big boy bicycle. And bicycles have gotten big lately. Just like that.
Yeah.
So, but it's nice when you get going down a long downhill. It's really steady. That's a good move of when you're going quick. Large frame bike with big wheels. It's nice. Ben R says, with $2 Canadian, thank you so much. Couple of dollars to spend on some brown stuff. I'm all out of beer. I'm going to have to re-beer, get myself another water, and then I'll cut myself off for the night. Jonathan Cannon doesn't have a question, but thank you so much for your donation. I appreciate it. Decker Law with a generous donation. Hope you guys are having a great day, staying safe. What are you going to do when we actually get a chance to do something? I'm just hoping we're open in time for Colossal Con East. Don't know what Colossal Con is.
Yeah, I have no idea.
No idea either. Yeah, gatherings are going to be a thing. Who knows? I just try not to think about it.
Yeah, I don't think that far ahead because I got to do one day at a time. Because looking ahead is, it was my 5th grade teacher, Mr. Smith, who always told me that you can't live life always looking for something to look forward to. You have to live that day so that, because you're just going to disappoint yourself if you always feel like you have to have something to look forward to. Like I spend my whole year looking forward to New York Comic Con, and I've accepted that it's not happening this year, even though there's been no official announcements. But I'm just operating under the assumption that it won't, and that if it does, that I don't know that I'd be comfortable with going anyway, because it's about, responsibility, I guess. But also, it's not something that I need to do. So yeah, I don't know. Somewhat off topic. Part of the reason I was distracted for a bit was because I wanted to upload the Cash for Clunkers audio onto the various outlets that you can get our podcast on. Okay. Because someone mentioned it in the comments, and I'm like, damn, I got to do that before I forget. So that's what I was doing. It should be up there soon because it's uploading and blah, blah, blah. So there.
Speaking of audio, people getting flagged. You see Frederick Knudsen from Down the Rabbit Hole, his Rajneeshpuram video got flagged again
For what?
for it's like some obscure thing. It's the company that existed as Rajneeshpuram still exists.
Huh.
Sure. Long story short, they want the video down because it's saying, "Hey, we're technically a cult. Don't make videos about us." That's kind of what it is.
Yeah.
Thank you, Derek Law. Thank you so much. David Omberg. Thank you for your donation. Just bought a 1991 Volkswagen 740 Turbo wagon. Very cool. I'm fixing it up during the quarantine. That's cool. Wish me luck. I wish you luck. That's gonna be a cool wagon when you're done with it. I love those things. Complicated, a lot of technology for the early 90s. But they're definitely neat. We've never done a Volvo 740 Turbo wagon. I'd love to. Hope I can someday. Bob with KR50 kroners, 50 kroners. Hey boys, silly question. If 1930s cars are wampadampas and 50 cars are wingadingas, what sound do you make for 80s cars? Beepin' boopin'. That's the sound of computers. There's this one sound effect, this computer sound effect. It's been used a number of times for the sound of a computer.
Yeah.
And it's like, I know it when I hear it.
Yeah.
And I wish it had a name like the Wilhelm scream or something like that.
I mean, it probably does, but we just wouldn't know what it was if we heard
the
it.
Sound of a computer. Because really a sound of a computer is just the sound of cooling fans and maybe like a hard disk.
Yeah.
And like a stepper motor from like a... I've been working through the back catalog of the 8-bit guy. Because my evenings for me is listening to... Like, people I will... YouTube channels that I listen to are rarely car channels. It'll be... Of course, Down the Rabbit Hole, but his videos come once in a great while. There's the 8-bit guy, Tech Moan, and then Lazy Game Reviews. Between those three, I have like a background. I'm replaying Borderlands 2 on a different like skill tree.
Yeah.
And then with the volume all the way down in the settings, and then listening to YouTube videos in the background. So that's my evenings. That's my... Instead of watching Netflix or whatever, that's just it.
Yeah.
I'll usually just have dinner and just do that. Matthew Higgins says, keep up the good work, boys. There was no boys in that. Keep up the good work. Cheers from Brooklyn. Thank you, Matt. So the reason I'm reading all these, because since Nick isn't in a room, you can't really see him.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them. I don't know if we can now put a digital sign up. Don't know if we should do it yet or not.
Oh, man, no. I don't
know either.
I mean, I don't have a physical sign, and I don't really have material. I just have like my notebook, which the writing is fairly small and would probably appear smaller because I'm half of the screen.
Oh,
so,
this is the way we do it.
Yeah.
I just put that up right there. Did it go up yet?
I haven't seen anything yet because my stream is behind by like,
I'm making it flash.
Seconds.
Can you see it?
Well, I mean,
my
there it is. Finished with super chats.
Yeah, I can put that up.
Very nice.
When it comes time. Of course, now I'm on a delay, and I just stopped it, and now it continues for a little bit. I'm fading fast, man. Feeling tired. I've been playing Forza 4 and driving the slowest cars around the Nuremberg. It's a good way to pass the time. That is a good way to pass the time. I remember I used to play Grand Theft Auto Vice City and just drive around and listen to podcasts. Like, that would be it.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's part of loving that world, which is funny because I don't think I would feel the same way about Miami itself. but you feel that way about a world because you kind of have control in there because it's not real.
Right.
So, you know, eh.
Droff Meyer, here's a question that Nick can answer. What was the first video game console you ever had? I'm going to go
I
rebeer.
ever had. Well, I mean, I would have had an NES first. Like, I never did like an Atari or a ColecoVision or any of that funny stuff. I guess I had a Game Boy and a Game Gear, and I had a Genesis, a Super NES, PS1, N64, PS2, GameCube. Um, uh, then it's been PlayStation consoles ever since. So it's that weird thing where you just kind of end up a sort of in a sort of rut of, well, not rut, but like there are you know what you want now, you know what you like, so that, I mean, I'm sure the Wii was great. I played a little bit on it on a friend's, but it felt too gimmicky for me to actually enjoy. So I don't know. And then the Switch, like, I want to get a Switch, but I just can't convince myself to actually commit to getting one. But yeah. Oh, and in there, I forgot that I had a Sega Channel for a bit. Which was fantastic. It's this service. They install this little thing into your Genesis, and then at the first of every month you get new games that you can play that are all there on like a drop down, or not a drop down menu, but there's a menu there of games. So yeah, it's I don't know. Sega Channel was fantastic, and I was sad when they discontinued that. But yeah. But yeah, that's kind of where I was as far as game consoles go.
This beer by Victory, it's called Easy Ringer. It's a low-calorie IPA. It came in the variety pack that I got. So I guess it's like a light beer. It says 96 calories, so it's probably not as light as a light beer. It's 4.3%, so it's weird. Like, I'm at the age now where anything under 6 is like a lawnmower beer to me. Huh.
What is it smell?
I don't know if I'm used to drinking like really heavy and complex beers now, but this is almost Rolling Rock to me.
Not a ringing endorsement.
It's not. This is definitely... It's not that it tastes bad. It just doesn't taste.
Which arguably is worse.
Yeah, like the worst beer I ever had was Natty Light. Oh, actually no, it was just regular Natty, or natural ice or something like that. It was terrible.
Mine was Hams, and it's not close.
Hams. Oh no, Hams. Hams. I would rather have a ham. Actually, would I rather have a Hams? Hams. Oh no, Hams.
Yeah, like I don't want to wake up tomorrow and just be vomiting, or worse, wake up in vomit. It's just.
I don't know. I'm aware of drinking a beer. It's clearly low calorie IPA. There's no bite to it at all. I don't like beer. Well, here, you drink this. You won't even taste it. I think I'd rather have a Miller Lite than this.
Well,
of course, Miller Lite is like back sweetened, I think. So, Anyway, so this is my beer. I'm gonna be full, and I'm gonna, low calorie. That's going to the back of the fridge, or I guess it's good. Like, I'm not having another sour monkey because then I'd really get drunk. It's serving the purpose of a light beer. Well, it's a glass of cold yellow is what it is. People in the chat are talking about Keystone. Oh, Keystone. Okay. At least it's cold. That should be a beer called At Least It's Cold.
Masks the taste.
Will C said, love the pitch pilot, guys. I've been enjoying your Instagram streams, Roman.
Oh, thank you.
Hope the Rona hasn't cost y'all too much money. Here's some more weird beer weed money. I'm getting drunk on Skagnet Pilsner. I don't know.
Never heard of it. But maybe it'll be one to try once this thing is all over, you know? Because I've never, I don't know. I was always kind of like a lager man, but now it's, I don't know. Maybe it's time to get back into Pilsner.
Yeah. Pilsner can be really good. Like my favorite Pilsner is, it's Trogs, and they make one that's just called either Sunshine or Summertime. It's either like Sunshine Pills or Summertime Pills. And it's just a really good Pilsner beer. Yeah. I wish my victory pack would come with Sunshine Pills. It's honestly, I'd buy that just to have it. Like,
yeah.
In that I'm at this like weird stage right now where the only beer I buy has to be a variety pack, because I'm like, I took to heart my friend Tom. His philosophy is my favorite beer is the one I haven't tried yet. So yeah. I don't feel like going back to old standards. It challenged me. So that way, if I buy the variety pack, I think variety packs are like $2 more. So like, but I guess it's insurance against, well, you're really going to like one thing. You're probably going to like one thing. One thing's going to suck. So you know not to get that. And then two are going to be in the middle.
Yeah.
Anyway, good question, Will C. Actually, we're swinging up. We're at 9:30. We're swinging up to 10. So I am going to put this little sign up. Donk. There it is. Finished with super chats. So we will get to every single one of them. Hey, it's beer. It makes you burp. Emailed you about reviewing my 1971 Squareback. Yes, I did get your email. You're in Massachusetts. You know, when safety permits. Yeah. Again, we'd have to do Massachusetts outside of Massachusetts. And by outside of Massachusetts, I mean outside of Boston. Taylor Dobinerian. Something. Good thing. Yeah, I do want to. We'll have to. I've gotten a bunch of emails about people with Volkswagen stuff after we did the pitch pilot. Joseph S. Barra III with one. What does Joey Diaz call C notes? Yardstick? Is a yardstick $100?
Not sure.
Or is yardstick $5? I don't know. Or is that $20? But anyway, very generous. Joseph, thank you so much. It'll be put toward our travel budget for when we can finally get out of here. Thank you, Joseph. I cannot understand how Pennsylvania does not consider state liquor stores not an essential service. Right?
Yeah.
Right? I could go for some whiskey right now. Not to get drunk, just to taste. I get nostalgic about my 7 years in Pittsburgh until I remember those damn liquor stores. Yeah. State liquor stores are not an essential service, probably because of baby Jesus or somewhere.
Yeah.
That's all we need. We need them now. I mean, remember when we were on the Smoking Tire and Matt said that the weed stores out there are considered essential?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's a matter of people figuring out how to make their own at home, which, I mean, granted, you need like a still or whatever. Yeah. But, you know, this is how you end up with. Well, I mean, it is the 1920s all over again, kind of. You know, it's now people are going to have to figure out how to moon their own shine or whatever. It's just, you know, you can drink, but the level of alcohol that you're getting, like, you better hope that you happen to have some stored away
Yeah.
that you can't get now.
Yeah.
I mean, and even outside of that, it has like baking applications.
Yeah.
It's yeah,
It's a
but
vodka. It's a hand sanitizer.
yeah.
So it is super weird. It's not like it's the end of the world. Like, oh, first world problems. I can't get liquor, but I can get all the beer and the samplers and the small batch stuff I want. And you go to Giant, you can get wine, and frickin' Nick was drinking wine from a gas station.
Yeah.
What a hard time. I can't get hard liquor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Although there's that moonshine place in Schuylkill Haven that has a sign outside that says it's open.
Huh.
Now I tasted their product at a thing. It is back sweetened to hell. It is syrupy, sugary sweet. It's not. I'm sure they have like a base spirit or something, and they just add like corn syrup or something like that. I'm not knocking their stuff. They're making money. It's pretty cool. And watch me like roll over there one time just to have something to add to my seltzer water. It'll probably be better than drinking freaking White Claw anyway. Dude, at Giant, at the liquor register, it's like all the stuff right by the register is all the White Claw and like the mom drinks.
I believe it. The claw is law. It's out here, just it's the de facto choice. It's just replaced Four Loko as that. Well, not in the same amount of danger that Four Loko posed, but
the OG Four Loko, like yeah.
It's just here to be that drink that everybody has because it's fashionable right now.
Yeah,
kind of like Zima was in the 90s.
Zima. Was Four Loko around when you were at Penn State, Maine, Upstate College?
Not that I recall, although it probably was, and I just don't recall because I was drunk like half the time. But who's to say,
Mike Blanier. Any ideas for getting my 4-year-old daughter to stop reciting the first minute of the Chevy Bolt video verbatim? I don't even know what we said.
Yeah, neither do I.
No.
I'm sure someone in the comments will like.
Was it like? It sounds like if like a little girl was singing it. It was some song. It was like sing-songy.
Yeah. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Nothing comes to mind that she could say that would be not get her sent to the principal's office, the internet principal's office.
Yeah.
So no, I don't have any ideas. I don't know. Have her watch videos of the Banana Splits or something like that. Some old school like tra la 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 la, or the Letter People, or we're going like mid '80s public broadcasting. They had some jingles back there in the day. Just reintroduce her to like classic Land of Make Believe with Mr. Rogers or something like that.
Apparently the Bolt review starts with you singing about how you poop and then you brown.
Oh, okay.
Hey.
Bruce Henn is saying his daughter is like sings poop songs. I think that's funny.
It's a universal language.
Yeah. Anyway, oh yeah, and I made an album about that. Songs I've written while I pooped. It's on Bandcamp.
Absolutely.
$7. Patrick McFarland said, I loved your reference to Tim Dillon. Yeah, Tim Dillon. In the last episode of his Long Island stories. Do his last episode of I love his Long Island stories. Resonate with you? We're in Pennsylvania. We're a long way from Long Island. Actually, Long Island, you could probably get to now you can probably get there in about 3 hours, but it's probably about 4 hours normally, 4.5 to get on the LIE.
Didn't you get there on 6 on a motorcycle?
I'm sorry?
Didn't you get there in 6 hours on a motorcycle?
Yeah, but I dicked around. And also I hit, man. I got I got to the Long Island Expressway via the Midtown Tunnel in Manhattan. So if I would have taken the Verrazano Narrows, I would have knocked an hour off of that. But I went into New York City and rode around on it was great. It was an intense trip. Like, I was focused. But that was fun. Yeah, I did it. I like Tim Dillon. Tim Dillon's pretty intense. I can't really listen to all of his podcasts because it's really just kind of him talking to his producer, and Tim gets all ramped up and like says crazy things. But I would love if Tim Dillon is a comment. For those who don't know, Tim Dillon is a stand-up comic from Long Island, and he's very good at doing, like, they're not impressions of people, but he gets the vernacular, not even the vernacular, the vocabulary of somebody down, but just in his own voice, but you go along with it. His classic one was Meghan McCain, but then there's other ones where he just sets up a table, like a Tonight Show style table and microphone in a public place, and he sits and he just starts riffing on things. It's great. It's got some Tom Green vibes to it. And it'd be so cool to have Tim Dillon just go to the New York Auto Show, set up his table, set up his mic, camera, go, and just let him rip.
Wasn't Tom Green just on Rogan?
He was just on Rogan, yeah.
I have to listen to that. I haven't gotten around to it. Because I've been wondering kind of what he's been up to. Like, just in a general sense. Not necessarily that I was specifically thinking about him, but, you know.
Yeah. He had the stuff into the early 2000s, and that was kind of that. He did talk about when he was doing the live stream, like in the mid 2000s, like he had to have a server in his own house. It was crazy. And, wow. But recently he's gotten back up and doing, just doing stand up.
Yeah, good for him.
Jacob Skeen says, thank you for your generous donation. Thank you both for the laughs, gentlemen. Thank you for your donation. I really appreciate it. C doesn't have a question, just wants to say hi. So hello, C, and it's just the letter C. I got a lot of those in math. Like, I was so bad at math. When I got a C, I'm like, fine, great. I didn't fail. I got a C. Doing fine.
I was so bad in math, they had to put me in logic as like a sort of, it's math adjacent and will count as a math credit. This is college, like undergrad. Nice. And even then I got like a C, and I was just like barely, because it was a disaster.
Math. Thank goodness for the people who can do it.
Amen.
You guys are superheroes who can understand that. I went to summer school for Algebra 1. Failed it. Couldn't pull it off. Steve Schwing... I think I can produce a German name. Schwinghammer? Steve Schwinghammer. Love your TJ video. Help me convince my wife that a TJ was a good replacement to my total legacy. I think by TJ, you mean the Jeep TJ? Thanks. Save the TJs. Yes, please save the TJs. You got to weld up the frames, though. Dude, if you're in Long Island, Manhattan, Eastern Pennsylvania, Southern New York, the place to get your TJs welded back together is Catasauqua Auto Repair. Catasauqua, Pennsylvania. Owned by my friend Justin Kramer. He makes a great... He's a certified welder, and that's one of his specialties. Welding Jeeps back together. He fixes them up, then you can romp on them. Strengths in that frame, take them to Justin. He'll weld them up right. Yeah, save the TJs. Good question. Thank you for the donation. I Stink, a familiar face. Thank you. I never knew what your avatar was because it was so tiny. It always looked like a flamingo to me. A flamingo taking a selfie with like a point-and-shoot camera from 2006. Inspired by one of my trailers this morning, and someone wrote... inspected one of my trailers this morning, and someone wrote, I peed on this in the dust toward the top of one of its doors. Oh, way up there. way up there. How concerned should I be? P.S. My trailers are 14 feet tall. Yeah, trailers are tall, man. I peed on this, which means, okay, how'd they get up there? Did they have a ladder? Did they pull a van up to the back and stand on the top of that? Or is it someone at like a Love's or a travel center just fucking with you? I peed on this. Like, how concerned should I be? Well, logistically, unless the thing's really rusty and they're peeing on the rust to make the rust go faster, not really. I think that's funny. Of all the things they could write, they wrote that. So fine. Thank you, Ice Stink. Cole Donnelly says, really? This is the second time someone typed this out. They call me the recycler because I slam boxes. And then they wrote, that is my senior quote. Did they really let you get away with that in the yearbook?
I mean, what are the odds that someone would actually understand what that meant? Like someone in charge. You know what I mean?
They had to understand what that meant.
But also, it's a senior. What are you going to do to them? You know what I mean?
That's true.
It's like, hey, enjoy a feast of these nuts if you want to talk about it. I mean, I guess they can not let him walk, but what are the odds that anyone would notice it before then?
Yeah.
Like my senior quote, I think, like either I didn't submit a senior quote or anything, or maybe it was a typo. But looking back on my yearbook, my senior quote is just my name. It goes Nick Roman and then Nick Roman, like I'm a fucking Pokemon or something, and that was my senior quote. You know, of just like, oh, well, you know, so immortalized.
But our school didn't do senior quotes. It was really weird.
I mean, I don't get what the point of senior quotes are anyway. It's like some vapid, empty, inspiring phrase, a song lyric, or, you know, like, there isn't enough time for me to get in my 5 good minutes of stand-up, so let me just distill it down into this one phrase.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just, I don't know. I don't know. It didn't feel that important to me then. Apparently not, but, you know, I guess it's important to the people who are doing them as they're doing them. So, you know.
Two steak sandwiches doesn't have a question. Had an animated gift of a lizard or an alligator turning their baseball cap backwards. I didn't know you could do GIFs now with YouTube, but what a world we live in.
Yeah, we're living in the future today.
That's got to be a line for something. We're living in the future today. We don't really have any futuristic cars coming up.
No, we really don't.
Phil McWonder. Thank you for your donation. Hey guys, I don't see you go over many newish Lexus cars. That's true, we don't. We did that one rear drive one a while ago. What are your thoughts on them? So, okay, my thoughts on Lexus. Unless you're getting one of the higher end ones.
I have to pee very badly.
Okay, Nick's peeing. Unless you get one of the higher end Lexus cars, just buy the Toyota, like a nicely spec Toyota, because it's the same thing. I mean, one guy I know, Captain Rock, he has the Lexus 4Runner, and it's cool. You get a lot of luxury. Still a 4Runner. I mean, unless there's an objective reason why you need the Lexus 1. And I kind of get the Lexus 4Runner. I mean, you get the really good seats. They'll give you extra options. That's a thing. And it's kind of funny to have a Lexus badge thing. That's, you know, he has his on big tires and stuff like that. But, you know, the Lexus 400 came and went, and that was brilliant. I don't really see it, man. Just get the Toyota equivalent. And he goes, and this, and Phil goes on to say, what are your thoughts on them? I'm giving me your thoughts on them. And do you think their performance cars are worth the cost? No, I don't think they're worth the cost. I mean, they're definitely worth the flash. But, when we talk about performance versus the amount of money you're spending, the question always comes back to a C6 Corvette, a Z71. That's worth the money. Lexus, the technology has to sell it. But the thing about technologically advanced cars is they're only going to be good for about 5 years. They're only going to be fun and new and interesting and bedazzled for a few short years, and then they burn out. Now, if you're going to lease one, that's a different story. I think Lexus make great lease cars. Have it for 3 years and then move on to something else. Fine. That's it.
Yeah, on that point, just to jump in, I think it was Harley Earl and Alfred P. Sloan who came up with the idea of planned obsolescence for the auto industry, where cars were designed to only be good for, like, with their advancements for a certain number of years before they would become obsolete, and then you would end up having to get the next one to avoid appearing as though you had no money. So that the person in a used, like, Chevy was not as, like a model from 5 years ago, was not as well off as a guy who had one from the current year, but also the guy in, like, the next GM model up was better than either,
Right.
And so it's further playing into that whole thing of cars as status symbols, but you see it more now with, smartphones and computers and all that stuff. I'm trying to think of, like, other sort of products that you would see it with, and I think cars are, like, the only other thing I can think of right now. But yeah,
cameras, I guess, maybe. But
yeah,
unless you're a professional like Ivan Verlan, the cinematographer who did our Pitch Pilot, I think you don't need the best camera, because we've gotten, okay, now GoPros are all doing 4K at 30, 24 frames, 4K, or maybe even some of them can do them at 60. But everybody's still watching them on, like, an iPhone. So how much resolution do you possibly need? I mean, my phone is an iPhone fucking 6S. Like, I don't need a 10. It's, my car is 13 years old. So yeah, a newer Lexus, no, they're not really worth the money. If you're talking about buying a Lexus and keeping it forever, maybe, I don't know. You're better off if you're one of these guys who's going to buy a car new and hold on to it for like 20 years. Then the answer is a Camry, and it probably will do that. Anything else, Corolla, yeah, sure. I don't know. Always with these questions, I have to go into the psychology of the person asking the question. What does this car have to be able to do emotionally for you? And then you have to ask yourself, well, why do I need this car to do this? What is lacking in my life that this car is going to be able to fulfill? And I could go down a rabbit hole about that. Like why I like the Falcon so much. Because I didn't have a relationship with my grandfather. He put a .38 revolver in his mouth in 1990. Dark, but we're moving on. So I didn't really get to know him too much. So when I drive my Falcon around, I get people of grandfatherly type or vintage liking me, and I get to have a nice grandfatherly conversation with them. And so that's nice.
Yeah.
And to put him into perspective, like my grandpa had terminal cancer. Like he got it in the 80s where it was like, that's it, man. So the drugs were kicking his ass. So he thought he'd take himself out. Gross. fucked up part of the family doing that, so thanks, Grandpa. Anyway, I don't want to get on that. It's Matto says AUD. I don't know what country that is. Austria, maybe? Hey guys, play SnowRunner for play the game SnowRunner for a very infuriating yet very addictive driving game experience. For anyone who doesn't know, SnowRunner is the latest iteration of sprint tires. I don't know what that is either. Oh, I skipped a bunch of these. Sorry. I'll get back to them. So, no, I don't know what that is. But thank you for the donation. I appreciate it. Ben Dwayne says, have either of you have any experience with Mazda MX-3 or the Ford Probe? I can't remember if we drove an MX-3. We haven't did a Ford Probe. I want to. They're kind of hard to find. Most of them are junk. And a few of them are sticking around. I do want to do a Ford Probe. We do have a car coming up that used that same V6 engine as the Probe. And also the Lantis race car owned by Automation down in New Zealand, or Camshaft Software, that has a smaller displacement version of the Ford Probe engine. I think they're great. The story of the Probe is great because it was the story of the Ford Probe is Ford originally wanted that thing to replace the Mustang. Like that. The Ford Probe was supposed to replace the Mustang, and then the world revolted, and then the SN95 was created. So after the Fox body, it was supposed to be the Ford Probe was supposed to either have a Mustang badge or the Mustang was supposed to die completely, and the Probe was supposed to take over. This front-wheel drive 4-cylinder and then 6-cylinder coupe. Yeah.
Wow.
Rob Richard doesn't have a question, but he donated $6.90. Nice. So we got It's Matto. Moving on to Jamie Alvarez. Ford Contour SVT. There has to be one in your emails. Yeah. They're all far away. I don't know if the Contour SVT came in manual. I really want it to. I don't know if the Ford Contour SVT uses the Probe motor or not. It may or may not. The Ford Contour SVT is, I believe, the Mondeo GP, GT, and other markets, but I'm not sure. I know our Ford Contour is Europe's Mondeo, but that's really it. Thank you for your question. Daniel D., thank you for your donation. What do you guys think about stick shift for someone who has a bad ankle? I'm assuming it's your left ankle. I sprained it badly on my left foot, and it hurts me from time to time.
Well, is this like a situation where you don't have a manual and you want to get one? Because if that were the case, I would just say wait until it heals, obviously.
Yeah.
But if you already have a manual, and I mean, I wouldn't drive anywhere unless I absolutely had to. But it also, like, I don't know to what extent your ankle is bad. Like, what kind of range of motion do you have? Yeah. Are you literally going to be impeded from reacting as quickly as you're going to need to? Because if so, you know, it's just as badly as, you know, having two bad ankles. You know what I mean?
When they start opening up gyms, and even if you don't want to go to a gym, Dan, can you stand on a step, like on a staircase, and do calf raises? Just like lifting your leg up, like lifting your body up, going, you know, up and down on your ankles. Because that's all stick shift is. It's half of it's your thigh, begins the first, and then usually the last bit is your ankle move. So that's the question. If you can do those all day and it doesn't hurt, you should be fine. I'd say get a modern one because modern cars have usually hydraulic clutches, not manual ones, so that it doesn't require as much force. But you're asking me, like, if you have an automatic car right now, I say just stick with the automatic car.
Yeah.
Question for Nick from
Oh,
Rob Richard.
yep.
Roman, what do you think of the 1971 to 1973 era of Mustangs?
I mean, visually distinctive. I mean, not to maybe the extent that I mean, like part of it is that this was during an era where you had sort of certain design competition from Pontiac in that regard of you want that cool looking almost the smell of spilled gasoline type of thing. um because it's all Bunky Knudsen or Knudsen, the drag racing guy. Wasn't he the one who was kind of like instrumental in that era? I might be getting my history confused, but I mean, it's also kind of like a period that reminds me of the Fox body era where people were kind of sort of bullish on the design because it wasn't really what they're used to, which is fine to an extent, but I mean, as long as everything's working the same, it all just comes down to personal taste. And so I think they were fine. Now, granted, do I have experience with them? Do I necessarily, have that whole sort of, you know, attachment to that era? Well, no, but I don't think it's necessarily something that is bad. If anything, it kind of informs the history of where the Mustang sort of ended up, because uh, it's still part of the template of what American muscle car means. It's very much like not a costume, but it's like part of the
I'm
wardrobe.
with you with costume.
Oh, all right. Well, yeah, it's part of the Mustang's wardrobe, for better or worse, and this was like its drag racing era, if you want to call it that, because for all we know, it's very much something that's always been drag raced, but even then, it's, I don't know.
God damn. I'm looking at pictures of them right now. 1971 Mustang Mach 1. Now, this is like 1971 for me is the very, very, very peak of the muscle car era because 72 begins the oil embargo. And anything after that, you get into the smog years and it all goes down there from there. I had a chance to sit in a early 70s Mach 1 at Ford Nationals.
Yeah.
Complete junk on the inside. Bad, like embarrassingly bad. Like this one's new and everything moves. Dash moves enough. It's like terrible plastic. This is the very beginnings of plastic. It has a center console that's like, ugh. It's more chintzy than a mall kiosk watch. It's Now they had like the 351 Cleveland and like the 400, I don't know what engines. Gigantic engine, these things. It was the ultimate fastback in that the fastback, it almost looked like a shooting brake. The rear window almost looked at the sky. It was not much more sloped back than the hood was. It's a huge car. Can't see out of the long hood. You don't know where the ends of this car is. It's gigantic. I think the best thing about the 71 to 73 Mustangs is seeing someone else driving it down the highway. It's like being in your car and watching them. It's like they look awesome. And then you're driving them. It's like, this is horrendous.
Yeah. I mean, the whole idea was that, hey, we're going to have a specific sort of drag racing car that's going to beat every other car head to head going in a straight line.
Oh, yeah.
Which it's I don't like these things sold like garbage, well,
Yeah.
relative to like other generations. And I'm thinking to the point where, what is it about this specifically? And I guess it just does sort of come down in a lot of people, or for a lot of people, to styling and design and all this other stuff, which, I mean, for me, it's fine. I don't have a problem with it, but I don't have the experience with it that you've had necessarily. Like, I've been inside of one, but I haven't really like been inside of one long enough to really be able to say, hey, I haven't driven one or anything like that.
I haven't driven one either. I want
Yeah,
to. I
I
want to
would
be
like
one
to.
into those monstrosities.
Yeah, and to see like what we're really dealing with under the hood, but I don't know that necessarily it's going to work out any better than say one from the previous generation or the generation after, you know? But early 70s Mustangs, well, early 70s muscle cars in general, like all had that very distinct, like they looked cool.
Yeah.
They looked like, they wanted to fight you in a bar.
They did, yeah.
Or but the type of cars that were never meant to be a father,
Yo, yeah.
it's just something that I don't know that necessarily. You could almost argue that era is sort of coming back design wise, of just like it looks a little bit meaner, it looks a little bit heavier,
Where were we when we saw that? It was like a Honda. I guess it had to be in Phoenix or something like that. The last place we were. It's whatever Civic is also a crossover now, and I forget the name of it. At a
oh
glance, it looks cool. It's like, but I'm like, this is just a Civic on stilts. I don't
yeah,
know.
I don't know.
I think that era of Mustangs, and I'll get to the rest of these questions in a second, but it's the very end of the big, gigantic engines, big size, big productions. And in 90s terms, I look at that as boy bands in like 2001. The last big hurrah of like Backstreet Boys and all that. They were on the radio, and I remember I was working at Hershey Park, and the Backstreet Boys came there, and I had to work the stadium. I wasn't there for the concert, but I was there for sound check. And like people were showing up, and I'm like, it's a gigantic pageantry display, and that kind of money will never be in music again. But
Yeah,
it didn't really create anything great. And the 71 to 73 Mustang, it's a gigantic engine. But nowadays, much more is accomplished with an LS and a turbocharger.
yeah,
So I can't get nostalgic for big block engines unless they're like, I guess, in like a drag racing application or something like that. The only place where that much displacement matters.
yeah.
I've said enough. Ben, greetings from Denver. Check out the Yacht Rock miniseries for your dad rock comedy lore. I heard of that, the Yacht Rock miniseries. I've never watched it. I would just rather just listen to the music. That's it.
Yeah, no, there was a Family Guy like maybe last year that was all about yacht rock. Like they go on this yacht cruise specifically for yacht rock, and it's a remake of the Poseidon Adventure more or less. But it got me into I think Bob Welch, of just like that very yacht rock. Sentimental Woman is a great song.
Mm.
So yeah, I don't know. Yacht rock has its place, and it always will.
It's general purpose. It's like that line from High Fidelity. I just want something I can ignore.
Yeah,
It's in the background. It's about good times. It's easy listening. Nothing's wrong. I have a bunch of money in the bank account, and I don't have to worry. It's like there's nothing to worry about, and that's like the theme of Yacht Rock, and
yeah,
it's kind of what I need right now.
yeah, nothing to worry about. Put on a little Christopher Cross,
Oh, sailing
Sailing,
takes me
take
away. Yeah.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's great. It's great.
Okay. Mike Blanier. Am I peaking again? No. No, I'm perfectly fine. Maybe I can pop myself up a little bit. Maybe I'm just loud in my headphones. There, I'm in the yellow, and there I'm in the red. Belch test. I think that peaked a little bit.
Nice.
Mike Blanier says, Sheets or Wawa, campus or satire? Huh? Camus or satire, and is there a correlation? Well, I don't know what Camus or Sarti is. I'm guessing it's some other chain of gas stations or convenience stores somewhere else in the country or world.
Huh. I don't know.
There's another burp coming, but I don't know when it's like a zit that needs to be popped, but it hasn't appeared yet.
Yeah.
It's like I can swallow more air and hope to coax the rest of it out. There it is.
That's impressive.
Patrick M says, of all the cars you reviewed, what was the most regular? Okay. And besides newer stuff in the Ferrari, what is the most irregular? See, if to have to be so regular, I'd have to like ignore it. I mean, we can always go to the Camry we redid. That's one where I had the song, hey kid, I wrote you a song. It goes brown, 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 brown. I mean, Camry. That's pretty damn regular. It's America's best-selling car. Everybody needs an car.
Yeah.
It's that, the Camry, the Corolla. I think we did Dane Pangonis's Civic, 7th or 8th gen Civic back in the day. That's pretty darn regular. What was the most irregular, the most unusual car? There's one coming up that's pretty damn irregular, just because so few of them exist, or that particular year they don't exist. But you know what? From an American standpoint, I'd say it's the Tata Nano that we did down at that Indian car.
Yeah,
that had to be it.
I mean, it was so irregular that we didn't even really get to finish it.
No, and overheated.
Yeah. But we kind of got everything we needed to know off of what little time we had with it.
We have an open invite to go back.
That would be great.
Yeah.
I mean, I really enjoyed that place.
So thank you, Patrick. Catman Dan says, I know you guys are Skook locals. Well, one of us is. What do you think of Ashland backfilling the graffiti highway? There were some great trails to ride out with my W250R. Oh, nice bike. I think they're missing an opportunity to make money off of that place. But yeah. I also think there is a bit of that. They could open a little shop unless Ashland's kind of totally condemned. So you can't really open a business there.
Yeah.
Really a little convenience store that sells water, a place to pee, and some honey buns and some of those club sandwich cookie things that you like. Just some of that going on. You could make people want to show up there, sell them stuff. You could make some money. But I think there's also some emotion into filling in the back graffiti. Like people are having fun, and we don't like that because I have to go to work. And why do these people get to play when I got to go to work? So what's the Aesop's fable? Dog in a manger? Like, or dog in the hay bales or something like that. Like if I can't enjoy the hay, then why do the cattle get to eat it?
Oh, is it that hen thing of like, no one will help her bake the bread, but then they all want to go eat it?
Yeah, I know that one too.
I don't know. What
it could be that. Well, I think there's a bit of spite going on there.
Maybe.
That's going in with people people screwing around and I don't like it. You shouldn't screw around. You should just go home. People are looking for free entertainment.
Yeah.
I see a money-making opportunity, but I think the people who are filling it in are the company probably just sees liability more than anything, because that section of the highway is no longer owned by the state. It's owned by some anthracite, like one of the mining companies up there. So probably it's one of their solicitor or a lawyer saying, look, people hurt themselves here. They could sue. So it's going to cost less money to fill up a bunch of dump trucks and cover the highway with dirt and let it just be regrown, and that'll be the end of it.
Yeah, but people get hurt on any property that somebody owns. You know what I mean? It's like, nah.
I don't like it, but I'm glad I got to experience it while it was there. So yeah, that highway was returning to the earth anyway. So. And it doesn't even smoke anymore. Been there a bunch of times. There's no more smoke coming out of the ground, so it's kind of disappointing. Took the Johnsons up there, and they were a little bit disappointed. So maybe not so much now, knowing that they can't. They were one of the last people to go out there. Anyway, that's that. Phil McWonder says, I am trying to rebuild my 2008 RX-8 during lockdown. As long as you don't have to touch that engine, you're good, man. If it's still running, still turning, if it burns little oil, so what? It's a good project. Any project during these days is a good project to have. A lot of questions to go through still. Dan Gall says, you can hear my voice starting to go. I'm going to get a lodging really quick. Are you guys interested in doing a 2008 Mustang GT? I am in Allentown. Yeah, we got to finish all our Mustangs, do all our years.
Yep.
Nick, can you give them the info?
Yes, it is regularcars.com. Oh, wait, no. Oh, God. All right, regularcars@gmail.com. City, state in the title of the email, clearly printed. Must be in the title. But also, yes, the car as well, you know. So if it were me, it'd be, you know, 2004 Mustang, blank Pennsylvania, and, you know, whatever. And from there, you just tell us everything we need to know in the body of the email. Information, factoids. Well, don't like the whole factoids of the car, you know. It's just tell us about you, tell us about the car, tell us that you own the car, because please own the car, and include pictures if you got them, because it's, you know, we want to see it. So yeah.
Thank you.
I could have done that more gracefully, but I can't think of anything right now.
Yeah. Thank you for doing it.
Welcome.
No more beer. Can't drink more beer. I need more water. CJR. Thank you for your donation. With message deleted, so he doesn't have a question. But thank you so much for your donation. I really appreciate it. Excuse me. Phil McWonder. Thank you for your donation. If RCR had a video game, what would it be called? Well, what would our video game be about? I mean,
like, is it a racing game, or is it, you know, is it a turn-based RPG?
Mm-hmm.
It's like Tony Airlines has joined your party. Or is it a fighting game of, like, you know, choose your fighter?
Yeah. I mean, like the idea of a turn-based RPG, or like a 2.5D side scroller, not a platformer, but something more akin to Night in the Woods.
Yeah.
I like a nice casual game where all you do is just go around and talk to people.
Yeah. That'd be nice.
Anthony Ferracci doesn't have a question, but thank you for the $1. I appreciate it. Again, CJR again. This is a question that Nick can answer better than me. Ever watch The Americans?
I have not. I've been looking for sort of something to get into as far as like what a new series I can watch is, because I finished season 3 of True Detective, which was a fantastic season of television, even though season 2 was garbage. I finished Succession, which is another HBO show. I was considering giving The Wire like a fifth try,
A
but I
fifth
realized
try.
yeah, because like I would get into The Wire, give it a little bit, and every time I would get a little bit further and then realize like I don't like this show. And but people are like, you gotta stick with it. And I'm like, I'm sorry, if I have to stick with it for 3 fucking seasons to get to the part where it actually gets good, then that's on the show. I'm sorry. Like, I'm sick of hearing about The Wire being like the greatest show of all time. And I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's like a masterpiece. But I don't give like a screaming shit about The Wire. Like, I just don't. And so when I looked at it, I'm like, huh, maybe this will be the time. No, I'm not doing it. So yeah, maybe I'll give The Americans a shot. Yeah, I don't know. It's just I should probably like read
The
more.
Wire, the Three Musketeers bars of shows. This time it'll be different, or like the Arizona iced tea. This time I'll finish it. Nope,
Yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like it's not even like I enjoyed it while I was watching it, like the
Mm.
parts that I was watching. I'm like, okay, great, yeah, but you don't understand, dude. It's so realistic and true to life, and it gets like so much. That I'm like, okay, great, but like I don't, I
Hmm.
don't, and it's like I don't want to be the person who never shuts up about The Wire.
Yeah.
Like, and same thing with Breaking Bad. Like, once I got done with Breaking Bad, which I watched all the way through, like, I was done with it. Like, it's okay. Breaking Bad was great. I don't need to tell anyone else about this show. Like,
Hmm.
because it's not a show that I actually care enough to talk about.
Yeah.
It's not, it's just, but then I think these are certain shows that aren't really, made for me.
Hmm.
And then again, I don't really know what shows I'm gonna like when I start watching them. Like I was hovering over The Expanse and debating whether or not I wanted to start that because once I start it, like that's a huge commitment, like time wise, and I'm just like, eh. So they really need to grab me with like the description of what it is. But I don't know. I did feel very empty when I was done with Succession, which is
Hmm.
only 2 seasons so far. So because I loved that show so much and I
Hmm.
wanted it to continue, and it will continue. It's just not yet. So,
Oh.
eh. First world problems.
Right. Sir Will C. When you come to Australia, where will you go? My first choice is probably Brisbane or Brisbane. Not sure what the correct local pronunciation is. But again, now because of all things considered,
Hmm.
who knows when? Um, I we really need a fixer. Uh, uh, Andrew Lamb offered to be our fixer, but it's been a while since he lived in Australia. He just, according to him, like I flew over to New Zealand and I just never went home. So the lay of the land might have changed a little bit. So I'll have to take that into consideration when choosing a fixer. Um, the Johnsons spend a lot of time on the Gold Coast. The Gold Coast is kind of, from what I've understood, is the Jersey Shore of Australia. It's like the place you go when you're young and you want to go to the beach, you go to the Gold Coast. Um, I'm up for driving a lot. Uh, um, so I don't know. I mean, clearly we have to be near the airport. We can't go across to the west coast of Australia. Sorry. And honestly, we're probably just going to be stuck in one city and then like venture out from there. Um, I do like the idea of going to the beach. Good news is most people live near it. Um, I like the idea of having an Airbnb like we had at that little house in Greytown in New Zealand. That was good. It's good to have a home base. Um, uh, and also a place where I can take long, long poops and long, long showers and not have to worry about upsetting the host. And also, like when you're staying at someone's house, you kind of have to be on a little bit. But after like a long day, I just want to stare at my phone for like an hour in bed and not have to be social. So I like that. Um, so short answer, Will, no idea. Brisbane, maybe. Gold Coast, maybe. Because I'm a little bit hipster. I'm like, well, I don't want to stay in Sydney because everybody goes to Sydney. Oh, fuck Sydney. Just to say I've been different. Although it's kind of like we went to New Zealand and we kind of, like the first time we only spent like a little bit in Auckland and then we fucked off from Auckland. And the second time I went there alone, the only time I was in Auckland was the time I walked from one terminal to the other at Auckland Airport. I'm like, see ya. I'm going where the fun is. Not that Auckland isn't fun. Shout out to Phil Hyun from Auckland. And when I do NZ3, there will be more Auckland. So, long story short, Brisbane, maybe. Gold Coast, maybe. Maybe. One big maybe. Our fixer comes first, and then the city comes second. Nerdy Hillbilly, hello. Your thoughts on the Geo and Saturn GM infighting? Well, I covered it a little bit way back when I did that one Saturn back in the early years of RCR. I think it's a shame. Saturn really could have been its own really good brand in the 90s. But again, it all teetered on the fulcrum of the 90s economy being the hard charge in 90s, where GM could afford to have an autonomous division within its own family tree. Geo was a gigantic little McDonald's play place for them to get all their international brands and bring them to the United States and just say, here you go play. You can't really hurt yourself under the name of Geo. No one's taking you seriously anyway. So I like stuff rolling around with a Geo badge. I kind of like seeing like early Saturns, early 90s Saturns. I don't really care for the late 90s and 2000s. Good question, though. Anthony asks, what are your thoughts on Monte Carlos? Monte Carlo, you live with your parents. You have a Monte Carlo. Your parents have a washer and dryer, but you insist on going to the laundromat to have a semblance of autonomy, and also because you had the fight about the jeans again. You put too many jeans in the washer. Monte Carlos. People think they're worth money, and none of them are. Even the early ones. Boats are better investments than those stupid GM piles.
I mean, Geo, it's like not Geo, Monte Carlo. It's almost like the type of vehicle that could be used as circumstantial evidence against you in a criminal trial.
Yeah.
Just the fact that you own one.
Someone with a Monte Carlo has a simple assault charge. I remember the one Simpsons episode where Homer and Ned go to Vegas and then they get married to those strippers.
Yeah.
The strippers drove a Monte Carlo.
I believe it.
Very legal, very cool. A familiar name. Question for Nick. Can you read the Berman poem Classic Water?
Can I? I mean, I could, but I don't.
I don't know what that is.
Classic Water.
While he's doing that, I'll answer another question. USDMX. Oh, it's another Roman question.
Oh, all right, cool.
Joseph Barra III. Hams yellow is the new brown. Yeah, Hams makes brown.
Yeah.
You're going to shit from all our orifices after you drink too much Hams.
Yeah, it's going to get all over creation. Oh, let's see. David Berman. Classic Water. I remember Kitty saying we shared a deep longing for the consolation prize, laughing as we rinsed the stagecoach. I remember the night we camped out, and I heard her whisper, "Think of me as a place," from her sleeping bag, with the centaur print. I remember being in her father's basement workshop when we picked up an unknown man sobbing over the shortwave radio. And the night we got so high, we convinced ourselves that the road was a hologram projected by the headlight beams. I remember how she would always get everyone to vote on what we should do next time, and the time she said, "All water is classic water," and shyly turned her face away. At volleyball games, her parents sat in the bleachers like ambassadors from Indiana in all their Midwestern schmaltz. She was destroyed when they were busted for operating a private judicial system within U.S. borders. Sometimes I'm awakened in the middle of the night by the clatter of a room service cart, and I think back on Kitty. Those summer evenings by the government lake, talking about the paradox of multiple Santas, or how it felt to have your heart broken. I still get a hollow feeling on Labor Day when the summer ends, and I remember how I would always refer to her boyfriends as What's-His-Face, which was wrong of me, and I'd like to apologize to those guys right now, wherever they are. No one deserves to be called What's-His-Face. The end.
I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, so did I.
Yeah. Classic. All water is classic water. That's good. That is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another question for Roman. Roman, if you were to one day purchase a new Mustang, which I guess means newer than 04, what generation or year would you choose?
Let me think. Probably the S197, like that, because it's familiar, but it's also, I don't know, in a way, very. I don't even know how to describe it because I haven't really considered because if something were to happen to my Mustang, I don't know that I would replace it with another Mustang. I might do something else different entirely that I don't even know what. It could be something, for all I know, I could get a Corvette next. It's because I don't know. Sometimes I surprise myself and get into things that I didn't think I would be into.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. For the moment, I guess the S197, which I think was the one immediately after mine, which is, and I forget when they stopped, but
S197 was 06 to 010, or it may even be 05. Yours may be the last year that. Well, or I forget.
Yeah,
we could Wikipedia it. Point is, they're all running a 3-valve modular, slightly updated of the 2-valve. Fine engine, perfectly fine. If you had the V6 model, you would get, I believe, the Duratec 6, which would get you double cams. If you do go S197, I side with the YouTube channel Car Wizard. Just get the GT. Pay the extra $1,000 and buy a used GT model and get the V8 because the V8 is just going to be way, way, way more reliable than the V6. And parts are just everywhere. And your mileage is going to be honestly about the same. And you can find them all over the place. Of course, get a bone stock one. Don't get one that's been messed with.
Yeah, because you don't really want to deal with that. Or, no, I deal with that.
Inheriting someone else's problems.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Aaron Litweiler with a baller donation. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you. Hey, your truck friend here. Just stopped for the night south of Louisville. Man. Tomorrow, going to Georgia to pick up meat that will then go to Arkansas. A lot of deadhead miles to find freight. The spike up has made it more challenging out here. Best of you guys. Hey.